You are watching clips taken from an archive of cinefilm, made by the Lee family in the 1920s and 1930s. The memories you can hear are from an interview with Mrs. Priscilla Fryer, formerly the 4th Lady Newton, at Vernon Hill House. These beautiful sounds and images reveal Lyme as a place full of activity, fun and love.
I remember the wonderful Christmas. I think it was in 1925, I'm not sure, but I think it was. And the Christmas tree was magnificent, and I don't agree with my sister who says she remembers one in the long gallery. It was in the hall. And I remember it was magical, this enormous Christmas tree on a roaring fire in the hall.
And would it have been just you and your cousins? And
As far as I remember, it was my cousins and my sister and myself. Grandpapa was gruff and not easy for a child. He had a moustache, and his food used to get into his moustache rather. And once she said to him, "Grandpapa, you're a dirty eater." I don't know. I have a memory meeting Mr. Truelove, so he must have retired locally. And we were playing cricket. My cousins, my boy cousins, the Lee boys and me, were playing cricket in front of the lake at Lyme, and suddenly this figure appeared, and with a beard and very dignified. And I remember being told, "That is Mr. Truelove." And that is a very early memory. We had our meals in the schoolroom, and as my sister says, I mean, children didn't come down to, certainly not to dinner, we went to bed, but I suppose we started to come down to lunch a bit earlier. But I can remember marvellous children's teas, and I remember particularly that Christmas of 1925, coming in from the snow and having a magnificent schoolroom tea, muffins and goodness knows what, delicious tea.
and then and your Lee cousins.
The Lee cousins, I knew Hugo very well as a little child, and we used to play in the park together when we were very small children, and so we were friends as children.
Do you remember what the family thought when Lyme was given up?
I mean, there was obvious sadness. My mother and everybody was sad. They thought it was inevitable. Peter used to say later, you see, it was suggested to him, he was still a bachelor, that if he liked to try and take it on, that would be fine. Well, he said with no wife it wouldn't have been very easy. But I always think that if we'd been married then, we would have had a go, because he adored it.
Did he?
He loved it beyond belief. And he was blissfully happy at Lyme. And he absolutely loved it. And he, I think, probably minded most.
Did it make it easier that it wasn't being sold as such? That it
Oh
was going
yes,
to the...
yes. It was considered marvellous, marvellous that it wasn't. You know. Oh yes, it made the whole difference that it would be preserved, you know, and looked after and loved.
Then, I mean, obviously you've seen Lyme a bit since
Oh
1946.
yes, of course I have.
How have you viewed it over the years? And I mean, and did you?
Well, it brings back memories, is what I can say. I mean, it's simply wonderful to see it looked after, and I'm always tremendously impressed how beautifully kept it is, to be quite honest.